Libra, let me ask you something. Have you felt it? That quiet pressure in your chest. Like something is about to turn, but you don't know when. You've been doing the inner work, holding your balance, smiling through uncertainty, while wondering if the universe even noticed. If you're hearing this before December ends, this is not random. And no, this isn't about forcing positivity. This is about a moment where what you've been carrying is finally ready to come back to you, multiplied, but only if you choose differently now. Stay with me, Libra. Breathe, trust yourself, because what's opening next is bigger than you think, and we're just getting started. All right, stay with me, Libra. I want you to imagine this as if it's just you and me here. No crowd, no noise, just a quiet space where you don't have to explain yourself. Because if you're hearing this right now, in this exact moment of December, this isn't coincidence. And I know you're someone who usually weighs everything carefully before believing that. But there are moments when life stops asking for logic and starts whispering instead. December feels different for you. Not loud, not dramatic, just precise. Like the universe gently placing you in the right room, closing the door behind you and saying, "Now we can talk." You've been carrying so much with grace, doing the right thing, trying to stay balanced, trying not to tip too far into hope or disappointment. And yet, deep down, there's been this quiet question you haven't said out loud, a wondering, a soft ache. Was any of it seen? Did any of it matter? Libra, this month isn't about rushing toward an answer. It's about alignment, that subtle inner click when something finally lines up without force. December opens a rare energetic window for you. Not because you pushed harder, not because you proved yourself, but because you stayed. You stayed kind when it would have been easier to harden. You stayed fair when life felt unfair. You stayed open when closing off would have hurt less in the short term, and energy remembers that. What you may not realize yet is that the universe responds in echoes. It doesn't shout, it reflects. And right now, it's beginning to reflect back what you've been quietly holding together for a long time. This isn't about sudden miracles falling from the sky. It's about something more grounded, more real, a shift you can feel in your body before you see it in your life. You might notice it as a sense of relief you can't explain, or a calm confidence returning when you thought it was gone, or a subtle pull towards something that feels lighter, cleaner, more aligned. That's the window opening. And here's the part that matters most, Libra. Nothing is being taken from you in this season, only returned with balance, returned with clarity, returned in a way that doesn't disrupt your peace, but strengthens it. You don't need to chase this moment. You don't need to convince yourself of anything. All that's being asked of you now is to notice where your attention rests, because whatever you gently nurture in these days before December begins to grow roots faster than you expect. This is where things start to come back to you, not all at once, but intentionally, in the way that actually lasts. And as we keep moving forward together, there's something else I want to show you. Something about a choice that's quietly presenting itself now. A choice so subtle, you could miss it if you're not listening with your heart. So, stay right here, Libra. Take a breath. Let the noise fade. Because what comes next is where the story truly deepens. All right? Stay right here with me, Libra. There's something quietly forming around you right now. You may not see it yet, but you can feel it. That subtle tension in the air, like the moment just before the scales finally settle. From now until December gently closes its doors, you're standing at a crossroads that doesn't announce itself loudly. No flashing signs, no dramatic ultimatums. Just a choice that lives inside you. And it shows up in the smallest moments, when you wake up and notice where your thoughts go first, when something doesn't move as fast as you hoped, when you catch yourself replaying what's missing, instead of what's quietly holding you together. This isn't about pretending everything is fine. You're far too wise for that. This is about awareness, because every time your attention rests on what hasn't arrived yet, your energy leans forward, reaching, waiting. And Libra, you've spent enough time waiting. The other path doesn't demand forced optimism. It doesn't ask you to ignore your feelings. It simply invites you to notice what's already supporting you, what hasn't collapsed, what has stayed. The breath you didn't have to earn, the strength that carried you through things no one applauded, the quiet resilience that never needed validation. When you place your awareness there, something shifts, not all at once, but steadily. Like light entering a room you didn't realize had windows. This is where the energy changes direction, because the universe doesn't respond to pressure, it responds to orientation, to where you gently point your inner compass. And right now, Libra, your compass is sensitive, refined, more powerful than you think. What you choose to feed emotionally in these final days of December determines how quickly things begin to echo back to you. Not as punishment, not as reward, but as balance. Tenfold return isn't about excess, it's about resonance. When your inner world softens, your outer world finds a way to meet you there. You may notice the first signs as relief, a loosening in your chest, a sense that you don't have to push anymore. You might feel less pulled into comparison, less drained by timelines that aren't yours, more present, more here. And from that grounded place, things move faster than they ever did when you were chasing. This is the quiet power of Libra energy. You don't force alignment, you embody it. And when you do, life responds naturally. So if you catch yourself standing between frustration and appreciation, pause, just for a moment. Ask yourself where you want your energy to land tonight. Not forever, just now. Because now is enough to start the shift. And as December continues to unfold, this choice will keep reappearing, softly, patiently. Each time you choose presence over pressure, you widen the channel just a little more, and soon, you won't need to wonder if something is changing. You'll feel it moving toward you. Calm, certain, balanced. There's more waiting for you in this story. Something about how what returns to you arrives in unexpected forms, and how recognition finds you when you stop asking for proof. So don't rush ahead. Stay with this moment, because what comes next builds gently on the choice you're making right now. All right, Libra, let me stay close to you here, because this part of the story asks for something softer than effort, something quieter than trying, and I know that can feel unfamiliar to you. You have a way of holding things together that no one ever sees. You adjust, you adapt, you give more grace than you receive, and somewhere along the way you learn to believe that progress comes from pushing just a little harder. But this moment is different. What's moving toward you now does not respond to force. It responds to openness. Tenfold return is not earned by exhaustion. It arrives when the channel finally clears. And that channel lives inside your attention. Right now, your energy has been doing something very specific. It has been scanning for what is missing, what has not shown up yet, what still needs to change. Not because you are ungrateful, but because you care deeply. You want things to feel right, balanced, whole. The universe understands that about you. But here is the quiet truth, Libra. The more your focus rests on absence, the more your energy tightens. Like a hand holding on just a little too firmly, and nothing flows easily through a closed palm. Gratitude in this season is not about settling. It is not about telling yourself to be satisfied with less. It is the act of loosening your grip so life can finally move again. When you pause long enough to notice what is already supporting you, something happens. Your nervous system softens, your breath deepens, your inner world becomes receptive, and that is when the return accelerates. Not because you asked louder, but because you made room. You may feel this first as relief, a gentle release you did not know you were holding back, a sense that you do not need to explain yourself to the universe anymore. It already knows. Everything you have been, carrying with quiet dignity. Every moment you chose harmony over chaos. Every time you stayed fair when it would have been easier to protect only yourself. That energy did not disappear. It has been circling, waiting for the moment you stopped bracing for impact. When you shift your attention from what is lacking to what is alive, something opens. It is subtle, almost imperceptible. But once it opens, the flow increases quickly. This is how tenfold return works for you. Not as a sudden flood that overwhelms you, but as a steady restoration that strengthens your foundation. You do not need to chase outcomes right now. You do not need to rehearse future worries. All that is asked of you in this space is to recognize what has already stayed, the relationships that did not break, the inner values that did not erode, the version of you that survived without becoming bitter. That awareness widens the channel, and as it widens, life finds you more easily. Opportunities feel less forced. Support arrives without struggle. Recognition comes without you having to ask. This is not magic. It is alignment. And alignment is something you are naturally gifted at, Libra, when you stop trying to control the timing. Let yourself receive this moment, not later, now, because the energy you soften into today becomes the energy that multiplies tomorrow. And as we continue, there is another layer waiting to unfold. Something about the quiet signals you are already picking up, the subtle nudges that are not random at all. Stay with me. What comes next builds gently on this opening. All right, Libra, come a little closer with me now, because something has been speaking to you in a language that doesn't use words, and you've felt it, even if you tried to explain it away. This month, your intuition isn't loud. It doesn't interrupt. It doesn't demand. It whispers. It shows up as a gentle nudge you can't shake, a thought that returns at quiet moments, a subtle pull toward a direction you didn't plan. And because you're Libra, you questioned it at first. You waited. You analyzed whether it made sense. But intuition was never meant to be logical. It's meant to be felt. In December, your inner guidance is becoming unusually precise. Not dramatic, not chaotic, clear. You may notice it when you're doing something ordinary, driving, walking, sitting alone with your thoughts. A feeling arises. Do this, reach out, pause here, change course slightly. And then your mind steps in and says, that's random, that's unrelated, that's not practical. But Libra, this is where your growth lives right now, in learning to trust the quiet over the convincing. Because the universe doesn't always guide you straight to the reward. Sometimes it guides you to the doorway that leads to it. And those doorways don't always look important. You might feel drawn to a conversation you almost skipped, a place you didn't think mattered, an idea that feels too simple to be significant. But intuition doesn't work on appearances. It works on alignment. Every gentle prompting you follow this month is positioning you, not rushing you, not testing you, placing you exactly where you need to be when timing meets opportunity. This is especially important for you, Libra, because you have a habit of waiting until you feel completely certain, until every scale inside you is perfectly balanced. But certainty doesn't arrive before movement. It arrives because of it. The more you honor these subtle signals, the stronger they become, the clearer they feel, the less you have to second-guess yourself. You are not being asked to leap blindly, only to take the step that feels quietly right. And when you do, something shifts. The path becomes easier, resistance softens, synchronicities increase. This is how rewards find you without struggle, not by chasing them, but by listening. There is wisdom in your body right now, in your emotions, in your immediate knowing, when something feels calm instead of urgent, light instead of heavy, aligned instead of forced. That is your signal. Trusting your intuition this month isn't about making perfect choices. It's about staying in motion with life rather than waiting on the sidelines. And Libra, life wants to meet you halfway. Every intuitive step you take is a quiet yes to yourself, a declaration that you trust your own inner balance again. And that trust is magnetic. It draws opportunities that don't require you to compromise your peace. It attracts recognition that feels earned rather than fought for. It places you in environments where you don't have to explain who you are. You are being guided, gently, intelligently, lovingly. And the more you respond, the clearer the guidance becomes. As we continue, there's another truth waiting to surface, one about what has been blocking your flow without you realizing it, not from the outside, but from within. So don't rush ahead just yet. Stay present with what you're sensing now, because what comes next begins with understanding what has quietly been weighing you down, and how letting go changes everything. All right, Libra, let's slow this down together. There's something I want to say to you gently, because this is not about fault, and it's not about weakness. You are not stuck because you lack talent. You are not delayed because you missed your chance. You are not behind because you weren't good enough. The real weight you've been carrying has been invisible. It lives in your mind, in the constant calculating, the quiet negotiating between what you feel and what you think you should feel. You replay timelines. You ask yourself when, how much longer, what if I chose wrong? And you don't do this because you don't trust life. You do it because you care deeply about balance, about fairness, about making the right move at the right time. But Libra, there is a difference between discernment and exhaustion. Overthinking does not come from wisdom. It comes from fear of imbalance, from the belief that if you think long enough, you can prevent disappointment. And yet, all it's done is keep your heart waiting at the door while your mind runs laps around it. I want you to notice something right now. Just pause for a breath. When you imagine your future, does it feel heavy or light, tight or open? That sensation is your truth, speaking before words ever arrive. Your heart has been ready for a while. It's your mind that has been holding the brakes, trying to protect you, trying to make sure everything makes sense first. But life does not move in straight lines. It moves in currents, in timing, in moments of alignment that can't be reasoned into existence. This month is asking you to reunite your inner scales, not by silencing your mind, but by letting your heart have equal authority. When thought and feeling finally stand side by side, something beautiful happens. The fog lifts. Decisions feel simpler. You stop asking when because you start sensing now. That clarity is not loud, it's calm. And calm is how you know you're aligned. This is the end of a long waiting cycle for you, Libra. Not because something suddenly appears, but because you stop circling the same questions. You no longer need to rehearse the future to feel safe in it. When you bring your head and heart into the same room, your energy becomes coherent, focused, magnetic. And life responds quickly to coherence. You may notice yourself releasing timelines you once clung to, letting go of outcomes you thought you needed, trusting that what is meant for you will not require constant mental negotiation. This is where things lighten. You begin to feel less pressed by urgency, less drained by anticipation, more present in your body. And presence is powerful, because from that place, you make choices that feel right instead of forced. You speak when it matters, you wait when it serves you, and the universe meets you in that balance. This is not about giving up control. It's about giving control back to the part of you that already knows. Your heart has been patient, your mind has been busy. Now they are ready to work together again, and when they do, movement replaces waiting. As we move forward, there's something else emerging alongside this clarity. A recognition, an acknowledgement that you may not even be expecting yet. So stay with this feeling, this quiet ease settling in. Because what comes next is not about effort at all. It's about what finally begins to see you when you stop asking how long. All right, Libra, let this part land softly. Because what I'm about to say isn't a promise shouted into the air. It's a recognition that's already forming around you. You may not have named it yet, but you've felt the shift. That subtle sense of being seen again. Not loudly, not dramatically, but honestly. For a long time, you gave without keeping score. You showed up. You held space. You carried responsibility with quiet grace. And most of it happened without applause. That can make anyone wonder if their effort disappeared into thin air. If it mattered, if anyone noticed. Libra, it did not go unnoticed. What's unfolding now carries the energy of confirmation, of acknowledgement, of a gentle but undeniable yes from life itself. Victory for you does not arrive as conquest. It arrives as alignment. It feels like being evaluated fairly for the first time in a long while. Like your contributions finally landing where they're understood. Like someone, somewhere, saying, I see what you did there. And you don't have to announce yourself to receive this. You don't have to fight for the spotlight. Recognition finds you when you're standing in your truth. You may notice it through work, a shift in how your value is perceived, an opportunity that matches your integrity instead of testing it, a reward that feels proportional, not exhausting. You may feel it in your finances, not as excess, but as relief, as stability, as the sense that effort and return are finally speaking the same language. Or it may arrive closer to home, in your community, your family, your relationships. People begin to respond differently to you, with more respect, more appreciation, more reciprocity. This is important, Libra, because tenfold return for you is not about accumulation. It's about balance restored. For every time you extended yourself without return, something is now adjusting. Not all at once, but deliberately. The universe is recalibrating the scales, and the most powerful part is that you no longer have to chase recognition for it to arrive. You don't need to explain your worth. You don't need to justify your boundaries. Your presence speaks for you now. You may catch moments where things simply work out, where doors open without friction, where support appears before you even ask. Those are not coincidences. They are responses to the way you've learned to stand in balance without abandoning yourself. This is what healthy victory feels like: calm, grounded, sustainable. It doesn't disrupt your peace, it reinforces it. And the more you allow yourself to receive without guilt, the more naturally this flow continues. Because receiving is part of the exchange, not a weakness, not a debt, just harmony. As this recognition begins to settle in, you might feel a quiet confidence returning, not the kind that needs validation, the kind that knows its place. And from that place, life meets you differently. There is more unfolding beyond this acknowledgement. Something deeper than success alone. It has to do with understanding why this return is happening now, and what role your energy has played in shaping it. So don't rush past this moment, let it register. Because what comes next builds on the realization that you were never invisible. All right, Libra, let's take this one gently, because this isn't about superstition, and it's not about wishing harder. What's happening around you right now follows a law that has always existed: quiet, precise, unemotional. Energy returns to its source, not as punishment, not as reward, but as reflection. Everything you've been thinking this month, everything you've been feeling beneath the surface, every word you've spoken to yourself when no one else was listening, it all carries a charge, and December is amplifying that charge for you. This is why things feel more sensitive lately, why your inner world seems louder than usual, why small shifts in mood create noticeable changes around you. The universe isn't testing you, it's responding faster. When you tense your body with worry, life mirrors tension. When you soften into trust, life finds a way to meet you there. That's the law. Tenfold return doesn't mean excess, it means momentum. Energy builds on itself. So, when you stop bracing for disappointment, when you release the habit of waiting for the other shoe to drop, something remarkable happens. The current begins to move on its own. You may feel this first as lightness, a sense that you're no longer carrying everything by yourself, that you don't have to manage every outcome. Your shoulders drop, your breath deepens, your mind slows just enough to let life through. This is not weakness, Libra. This is alignment. For a long time, you held tension in places no one saw. You carried responsibility silently. You prepared for loss before it arrived, just in case. That survival strategy kept you steady, but it also kept you heavy. Now, something is loosening. When you stop gripping the future, the present gains power. Your words begin to land differently. Your actions feel more intentional. Your thoughts become clearer instead of repetitive. And because energy is no longer being wasted on resistance, it has somewhere to go. Forward. This is where the return accelerates. Not because you did more, but because you stopped blocking the flow. You might notice that things require less effort, that solutions appear without strain, that timing begins to work with you instead of against you. This is the universe recognizing coherence. When your inner state aligns, the outer world reorganizes around it. And Libra, you are especially sensitive to this law, because balance is not just a concept for you, it's a frequency. When you live out of balance, life feels heavy. When you restore equilibrium, everything moves. This month is giving you permission to put something down. An old worry, a long-carried burden, a responsibility that was never meant to be yours alone. You don't have to announce this release. You don't have to justify it. Just notice how much lighter your body feels when you stop holding it. That lightness is not imaginary, it's feedback. It tells you the channel is open. And once it's open, life responds quickly, not always dramatically, but consistently. You begin to feel supported instead of strained, guided instead of rushed, at ease instead of on edge. This is not random luck, it's energetic law in motion. And as this flow stabilizes, there's one final layer waiting to reveal itself. A sense of peace that settles in, quietly, a readiness to step forward without fear. So, don't rush away from this feeling, let it integrate, because what comes next is about how you carry this balance into the next chapter, and why the year ahead meets you differently than the last. All right, Libra, let's let this last part settle gently. You're reaching the end of a year that asked a lot from you, not in loud ways, but in quiet endurance, in patience, in restraint. And as 2025 begins to loosen its grip, there's something different in the air around you. Not excitement, not urgency. Peace. The kind that arrives when you finally understand you're not behind. You never were. You're not stepping into the new year carrying lack on your shoulders. You're not crossing the threshold depleted or empty. You're crossing with clarity. You know more now. About yourself. About what drains you. About what truly deserves your energy. That knowing changes how you walk forward. There's a calm confidence returning to you, not the kind that needs reassurance, the kind that comes from having survived what once felt overwhelming. You don't need to prove anything anymore. You don't need to convince life you're worthy. You already did the work, and life is responding. As you move toward 2026, the weight you once carried feels lighter, not because everything is perfect, but because you trust yourself to handle what comes next. That trust is everything. It allows you to rest without guilt, to receive without questioning, to choose without second guessing. You're stepping into a new balance now, one where your needs matter as much as your generosity, where your peace is protected, not postponed. And Libra, this is what alignment actually looks like. It's waking up without that familiar knot in your chest. It's making decisions that feel clean. It's letting go of stories that kept you stuck and waiting. You may notice that the year ahead feels quieter, not because less is happening, but because you're no longer fighting the current. Things come to you more naturally now. Support shows up without drama. Opportunities feel proportional, not punishing. This is what it means to feel answered by the universe, not through fireworks, but through steadiness, through a sense that you're finally moving with life instead of against it. And before December fully closes, there's one last thing I want you to hold close. You don't have to rush this transition. You don't have to squeeze meaning out of every moment. Just notice how it feels to stand here, balanced, present, grounded. That feeling is the foundation you're carrying into 2026. Tenfold return doesn't arrive as excess for you. It arrives as equilibrium, as the right things finding you at the right time, and it's already in motion. So as these final days unfold, let yourself stay open. Let yourself receive what wants to meet you. You don't need to search for signs. You are the signal now. And if this message resonated, let it be a reminder that you're not walking alone, that your journey matters, that your balance is powerful. Stay connected here if it feels right. Share your thoughts. Trust your timing, because the story doesn't end here, Libra. It opens. And the way you step forward now sets the tone for everything that follows. Before December ends, allow the shift, allow the return, and step into the next chapter knowing you're ready. All right, Libra. Before we close this space together, let this moment land. If something inside you softened while listening, if you felt seen without needing to explain yourself, that wasn't an accident. This message didn't come to rush you. It came to remind you that you're already in motion, even when it feels quiet. You're not late, you're not behind, you're aligning. And that alignment is what changes everything. As December comes to a close, trust the calm you're feeling. Trust the clarity that's settling in. Trust the version of you that no longer needs to force outcomes to feel safe. This is how your next chapter begins. Not with noise, but with balance. If this resonated with you, I'd love to hear your thoughts. Share what you felt. Or simply leave a Libra emoji below so this energy can meet others who need it too. If you haven't already, like this video to anchor the message. Subscribe to stay connected. There's more guidance coming, and the journey doesn't end here. Most of all, Libra, trust yourself. Your inner compass is steady again, and the next message is already on its way to you.